I'm Travis True. I'm the Curriculum and Technology Coordinator in Topeka, Kansas for Topeka Public Schools. Here's the bell. This is the the digital badges session. Okay. So let me ask you a question. So apparently I can't spell. What the heck is that? I guess. And I didn't even, I had this done like last week. It's not like I was working on it last night.
I feel like I do that all the time.
So what's a question you have about, why are you here? What's a question that you have about digital badges? Because badges is something fairly, it's kind of new. Well, digital badges are fairly new. Badging in general is not. We'll talk about that. It's not anything new.
I just wanted to see kind of how it works. I'd like to help get it started.
If you just came in, if you go to peardeck.com/join, let me go back. There you go. That'll get you into the presentation. And we just got started. You didn't miss anything yet. Okay. All right. So I'm Travis True. Again, I'm from Topeka, Kansas, the Curriculum and Technology Coordinator. Basically, I'm one of two tech integration specialists there in Topeka. So, and I'm a Google certified trainer. So the question was, what questions do you have about digital badges since you're here? And my goal for this session is really to have a discussion about what badges are and why you may want to start using them in class. If you want on your device, if you take that red dot, you can drag it to, this just gets us a feel for how familiar you are. So most of you are familiar with badges. Is it that you've heard of them? Are you using that? Is anybody using them? No? Okay. But you've heard of them, you just were curious about them, and that's great. Good. All right, so I got a short video here. I'm going to show this. This comes from a website. There's this push to have all of these badges that all of these different websites and companies create, to have them all kind of join together and become more industry-wide, kind of standardized. And so this comes from this group that's trying to do that, but this is a good introduction to what digital badging is.
Learning today happens anywhere and everywhere. It happens in the classroom, on the job, in the community, and online. We can no longer think of learning in one way. Today's social and economic challenges require learning that engages students, keeps pace with technological change, teaches 21st century skills, and provides meaningful assessments of our learning. How do we recognize and value the way we learn today? What if we used badges? What is a badge? A badge is an online representation of a skill or achievement you've earned. They've been used in gaming and online spaces to motivate behavior, recognize achievement, and establish credibility. What if we used badges for learning? Badges could be created and issued by anyone: schools, online spaces, cultural and civic institutions, community and professional organizations, to represent a limitless set of skills, achievements, and knowledge. Badges could be earned by anyone completing programs or projects or demonstrating specific knowledge, skills, and abilities. Badges could be shared on websites or blogs, social media profiles, online portfolios, and resumes, leading to real opportunities like connecting with potential collaborators, earning school credit, or getting a job. But in order to give badges wide credibility and acceptance, a robust badge ecosystem needs to be developed. Much work has already been done in critical areas. Mozilla's Open Badges infrastructure provides the software and open technical standard for everyone to earn, issue, and display badges across various contexts. A growing community of badge experts has developed various models of badge systems for anyone to use and adapt. Significant research has been done to provide a base of evidence about the potential of badges. A campaign is underway enlisting employers, colleges and universities, urban school districts, and after-school programs to expand demand for and supply of badging opportunities. The promise is to ensure that badges give everyone recognition for the learning that happens anywhere and lets them share it in the places that matter. So what do badges mean for learning? Badges recognize learning as a lifelong pursuit. For you, badges let us see that learning goes beyond classrooms. Skills like creativity and collaboration and passionate interests become as visible as subjects like math and science. Badges show our learning as more than a collection of test scores and grades, but as learning pathways rich with detail and information. This empowers students to guide their own learning, teachers to better engage students, and colleges to expand their admissions process. Badges continue into adulthood, recognizing the learning that happens in various jobs and in personal and professional development opportunities. Badges capture knowledge, skills, and accomplishments not found on resumes. This helps workers transfer learning across different industries, and employers find the unique talents and skill sets in demand. Badges cultivate critical values needed in learning today. They make learning more open, democratic, and transparent. They cultivate deeper and connected learning, where learning happens through sharing. They make learning more adaptable to change and open to innovation. Openness, sharing, innovation. These are the values needed in learning today.
Okay, so that gives you a little bit of background about badging and digital badging. But badge has been around for a long time. I've got 3 daughters, and the youngest one's still in Girl Scouts, and the other 2 have been through it, so I know all about Girl Scout badges. Boy Scouts, they've had badges, and those represent skills that those kids learn. And so that's basically one thing that you can do with digital badges. It's just a digital representation of a skill learned, a standard mastered, however, whatever your criteria is for the kid to earn that. Okay, video games have had badging systems for a long time, and then apps like the Fitbit app will have a lot of fitness apps have badges, and also web tools. Seesaw has a badge that if you become a Seesaw ambassador. Flipgrid has. Let me show you. Flipgrid. So these are badges that I have earned. Flipgrid has a badge when you have 50 videos responses on your account. They'll send you a badge, or it'll be number of videos, number of hours, that sort of thing. So these badges represent, like Google Certified Trainer badge is somewhat globally accepted as I've gone through the program. And when I see that on somebody's website or blog, I kind of know, hey, they might know something about Google. Or the Apple Distinguished Educator, those badges. But you also earn badges, and now badging's becoming more popular, that major conferences are sending people badges to present. So I'm presenting at TCA in Texas in February, and they sent a badge that they said put on Twitter, put on your blog, whatever. So that represents that I'm presenting at that conference. And so badging can be for a lot of different things. It's a digital recognition, digital representation of something that you've earned. We're not going to watch this video, but the two highlights from it, and there's a link. I'll show you how to get to this presentation so you can look at it again later. But the two big points out of this video is kind of what I just talked about. It's the badge validates some sort of accomplishment or skill, and then the bottom one is that they make the accomplishments and the experiences visible. I've run across in the last year, we've had on some jobs that we've interviewed for, we've had one resume that's had a couple of badges on the actual resume. I fully expect to see more and more as the years go on and it become more popular and badges become accepted across the entire industries, like technical colleges and like the tech industry, having those badges that, you know, this guy knows networking and have a networking badge or something like that. So and that's what we're talking about, is identifying what those skills are and then putting some sort of visual representation to that. These are just some articles that I found recently about badging, and really in the last 2 years it's really taken off in education, and the business side, the private sector side, is really starting to catch up. So there's an article here just from a couple weeks ago about IBM is incorporating digital badges into their basically professional development, and they're using it for it's to verify competencies that their employees can do whatever skill set they need to do, and in some cases they even use the badges as a promotional tool also. But this is the big one. It's really, when you get into badging, it's the gamification piece. It's not only is it visible, it's visible to everybody, so I will be able to see all the badges that you earn. But then what happens is the competitiveness comes out in people, and I've seen that, and I'll talk about. I started a badging program for our teachers in Topeka, and I've seen firsthand principals and instructional coaches see the teachers from their buildings that have earned badges, and they're like, hey, I need to get in on this because they're doing it. The competitiveness really jumps in for that, and that brings in some gamification types of things where you're doing those skills and earning something. North Carolina State Parks has they got an app, and if you log 100 miles, you get a badge. It's, you know, something simple like that. And then again, IBM is getting really big on doing industry recognized badges especially for certification. So they're kind of the leader right now in trying to get that accomplished. And this is this is from TCA, a blog post from TCA, and it's a pretty good 6 reasons to reward students with badges, and you can read through that later, but it gives some pretty good information. You know, acknowledges accomplishments, promotes collaboration, it validates progress, you explore skills, you surpass traditional assessments. Okay, it can be part of grades, but it doesn't have to be. And then it just gives a joy of learning. It's kind of weird seeing teachers in Topeka work through several different things to earn a Google Drive badge, and it's a picture I just emailed to them, but they're so happy to get it. It's crazy. Okay, So if you want to answer this question on your computer, well, let me put that back up there. So why should we use digital badges in the classroom? Like I said, and I'll get it more into this, but I use it for professional development, and I'll kind of explain how I've set that up. But I do have a couple teachers who have created their own program in their class, and I'll explain how they kind of organize it and do it for their class. Yeah, giving them some sort of something to work for, a sense of accomplishment that instead of just that grade. Yeah, that's a good one. Motivating students, all those are good. Did it freeze up?
No.
Oh.
It's my brain frozen.
Oh. All right. It's about the end of the day. Okay, so to get started, if you want to do this is kind of how I got started. So let me give you a little bit of history on where we're at. So there's two integration specialists, me and Gail Ramirez, who's here today. We have about 2,000 teachers that we support, and we basically do the technology training for the district. We have so many things going on that it's hard for us to get in front of teachers. It's hard for us to get into collaboration times. Nobody wants to meet before school. Nobody wants to meet after school, which I get. I make myself available during the school day. I'll just schedule myself in a building, but nobody wants to give up plan time. I understand. It's tough. So we've been looking at different ways to get training done, to get the word out on new tools, that sort of thing. And obviously, we wanted to do something digital. We have a training website, and if it's out on the web, they can access it anytime, anywhere. All the teachers have a teacher laptop, so that's not an excuse that they can't access it. And then I started reading a lot about digital badging and micro-credentialing and using it that way. So I set up a program around the Google Apps, because we still have quite a few teachers that aren't very comfortable. They can do the basic stuff, but it's getting them to do some more advanced things with it. So these are kind of the four things that we got started with. Who's going to participate? Obviously, we wanted the teachers to. What are our goals for this? Why are we doing this? And really it was to get them to see the potential of the Google Apps, just the core apps and the things that they can do with them, besides like docs, just typing a document. How are we going to track this, which became pretty interesting, and then how are we going to display badges? Those are kind of the four big things that we sat down and kind of hammered out. And we're still tweaking this as we go. We started it last September, so we've been doing it for just over a year. We piloted it until about Thanksgiving. About this time last year, Thanksgiving, we opened up district-wide. We haven't had a whole lot of success, but we have more and more people doing it every month. So who's going to participate? That's one thing you need to decide. What are your goals? So this, if you're a classroom teacher, this is, are they going to, do you want them to master a standard? I was a computer lab teacher, so my focus would obviously have been mastering the computer skill of some sort. I've got one middle school math teacher that she set her program up on mastering standards, whatever standards they're learning for that section or that unit. That's what their badge is based around. What kind of knowledge do you want the participants to walk away with? Obviously, with us, we want them to have that Google knowledge. And then, why are you doing it? Is it you can't get kids motivated to do anything else? Ours was, we're just throwing stuff against the wall, see if it'll stick as far as teacher training goes. We try, if there's an idea somebody has, we'll try it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we try something else. So that's kind of how we started it. And now it's kind of grown into people really like having the ability to sit down, if it's at home on their own time, and do it when they can. We get a lot of, when we have long breaks, there's a lot of submissions. Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break, and summer. And when people are up against, we have, so every 3 to 5 years, you got to renew your teaching certificate in Kansas, and you have to have so many professional development points. And we offer points. We'll talk about that too. And so I always know when someone's up against the deadline to get their points in because they're scrambling to get these done. So that's been a real help too, because they don't have a lot of real easy things. I don't want to say easy, a lot of easily accessible things that they can do to earn points, except going to face-to-face trainings, which we don't offer a lot of those except in the summer. So for you, if you set this up, is it going to be standards mastery, skills mastery? Just something to think about. And on if you're going to set that up, what would you do? All right, so creating badges. I am not a graphic artist. Okay, I will admit that wholeheartedly. I started with a program called Canva, which lets you make images. And then on my free account, I started running out of space, so I quit and I started using Google Drawings to make my badges. And let me show you. So our badges. So here's our web. This website is public, and if you want the link, I'll put it up here later if you want the link. But these are our badges. So these I made in Canva, and then these I made in Drawing. So we have so we call these challenges. So there's a Twitter challenge and a Drive and Drawings, and we're Promethean District. We have Promethean boards. So we have a Promethean challenge, docs, slides, forms. I'll release a YouTube one here in the next week or two. We're working on a SAMR challenge and some other non-Google. We try to release one every month for our teachers. Okay, but those are what the badges look like. And really, so what I just did in Drawing was when you go in here and open up Drawing, Google Drawings. You insert the image. So if I was going to make one for YouTube, oops, it's been a long day. I can grab I'll just grab this YouTube icon here and select it. What I like about Drawing is, let me go back. What we found was a good size for this is 200 pixels by 200 pixels. Because almost all of our teachers put that image in their email signature. And that's really, it's small, but it's not too small, but it's not too big. It doesn't look too awful. So on Drawings, to resize, you go into File and Page Setup and Custom, and then you change this to pixels, and we just do a square, 200 by 200. All right, so if I insert that image again, that YouTube, let's do this one instead. And I really like the circle. And so in Drawings, and you can do this in I think you can do it in Slides too. There's this crop button, and right next to the crop button is a little arrow. And you can actually crop to the shape. So now instead of it being a rectangle shape, it's now in a circle. And then I can change the outline color, and I can change the thickness. And then so now I can kind of resize it a little bit to make it fit. Try to center it. get my text box. And we came up with a little funny name, TPS Techie, just to kind of have a little fun with it. And we can change the font. I try to use the same font, but, have some fun with it. Put a little diagonal here, and then I can make it bigger. But there's my badge for YouTube. It's not going to, when I sit down and do it, it'll take me longer to do it, but not very much longer, because that's pretty much what we do. And then you would download it as a PNG, and then you have your image file. And that's it, and that's your badge. Okay? So, and if you are a Photoshop expert, use Photoshop. I am not, so I use drawing. Keeping track of badges. So what I do, here's how I have it organized. And again, this is what I do. It's not perfect, but it works for what we need it to work for. If you have a different system on organizing your program, you do that. I'm not going to tell you you're going to be wrong. I do everything in Google Classroom. I have a class for every challenge. So here's our Drive challenge. So I've got 41 people signed up. A lot of people just signed up and they haven't done anything, but they're in the class. When I open this, I have the instructions and a tip sheet with links to like video tutorials. And so they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They got 11 things that they have to do. They actually have to do 10 things. And then the last one is a reflection piece that is done through Flipgrid. So they have to reflect on the challenge. So I've got somebody here that has created a full, and this one's easy. This, they can earn 2. Is it 2? They can earn, is it 1 or 2? Shoot, I don't even remember now. They can earn 2 PD points if they complete all 11 things. And there's no time limit. You can start it now and finish it. We have them completely open all the time. So we have teachers that'll start in the summer, and then at Christmas time they'll add a couple. At spring break they'll add a couple more. They'll just, as they have time, they can work on them. So like this one, I open it up. I got one person that's done, and so this is hers. She was just supposed to share a folder with me. That was the challenge, and I have a spreadsheet that has on her name. I'll just put an X through that she's got that done. So I'll have Classroom open, the spreadsheet open. I'll just look, and you'll notice on here there's no rubrics. I just ask you, can you do, because I'm looking for skills, can you do this? Can you create a folder in Drive and share it with somebody? Yes. After Drive, our challenges after Twitter and after Drive become more project-based. So starting with drawing, they have to create 6 different things. And these are things that they can use in their classroom. And what I did was, and what I noticed was, if you're working toward Google certification, either level 1 teacher, level 2 teacher, or trainer, these are things that you need to know to take those tests. You need to know how to how to make interactive activities in drawing. In docs, you need to know how to do these certain things. So we took the skills that they need to know and then created projects for them to do. And again, there's no rubrics for them. It's just, you're going to create a banner for your Google Classroom. They turn that in. Did they create a banner that's 800 by 200? And there's some other instructions that they have. And if yes, then they can do that. I'm not grading them. This isn't a class, because if I start grading them on their quality, then I'm not going to get anybody to do it. But that could be different for your kids. You can totally have a rubric and everything else. But I'm just telling you what we do with our teachers. So keeping track, I keep track in just a Google spreadsheet, and then I issue the badge. I used to email the badge to the teachers, and then I got kind of out of control. And my boss wanted to know kind of how things were going, and I'd have to go back and look either at my spreadsheet and count, or look at the emails. And I found this website called Open Badges, which lets me upload the badges that I make, and it basically does. It's kind of like a mail merge, where I just put in the email address of the teacher. There's a template. There's a canned message that goes with each one, and that gets emailed to them. But there's reporting that goes with the badges. So I can look at a specific month and see how many badges we issued for that month. And you can see the peaks and valleys matched up with the calendar. So, and that's a free website. And there's several like this. This is one that for me, I felt it worked best for us. There's other sites that will do the same thing. So that's how we kind of keep track of those things. Open badges, that's what we use to email those out to people. Displaying badges, they get the little digital copy. They can put them, most of them put them in their email signature. On our website, on our challenges website, we have a leaderboard. And this shows you all the teachers that have finished at least one of the badges that's available, and the school that they teach at. So I can, if I'm a teacher at Jardine Elementary School, I can look at this and see that Jason Meyer, he must know something about docs or drawings because he earned that badge, and I can go talk to him about that. Or his principal was the one that said, holy cow, I need to do some of these because my staff knows more than I do. This, if you haven't been to Flippity before, it's flippity.net is the name of the website. They have a lot of templates that work with Google Sheets. And you'll see there's like a bingo, there's a Jeopardy game, there's flashcards, there's a random name. There's some really cool templates. But one of them, and I don't know how I found it, was there's a badge tracking template already made. And so let me show you what ours looks like. So here's what ours looks like. So they set this up for you. They set up about 3. You got to have the image of the badge and the name. And if you put an X in here, that will turn it on. If there's no X, it'll hide it. And then you start you put the teachers here. And if they earned it, give them an X. And if they didn't, you leave it blank. And an X, the badge will show up. And if it's blank, it won't. It works pretty slick. And as soon as I make a change here, like let me go down here at the bottom to Amber. Let's look at Amber's first. So Amber is down here at the bottom. She has Drive. If I go to this, let's give her Twitter. And I refresh the page and go back to Amber. Now she's got Twitter. I mean, it's quick. So I don't have to go to this page and do anything. It's just done on the spreadsheet. And that's kind of how the rest of the templates work. You just edit the spreadsheet and then it works. And they give you all the instructions. It's a pretty cool website. Progress indicator, Mad Lib, certificate creator. There's some cool things on there. All right. Couple of our teachers. So this year I bought some vinyl sticker paper, 8.5 by 11 sheets of vinyl sticker paper that we can run through our laser printer. And that 200 by 200 pixel size is perfect to get 12 badges on a sheet. And so this year, not only do they get the digital badge, but then they also get a vinyl sticker that they can put on their laptop. And because it's vinyl, when they pull it off, it's not going to leave the sticker residue. And if you got a Cricut, the one teacher, our math teacher that's doing it, she has a Cricut. So she's buying the vinyl on her own and printing them on her Cricut for her kids. That's one way. Another thing that I saw a teacher doing was he made the badges, but he was making them in black and white, like coloring pages. And when the kids would earn that badge, they would color and decorate their badge, and then he was displaying it around the room on his wall. So with kids, it might be a little bit more difficult with the digital piece because there's not really a place for them to put it, like in an email signature. But you can definitely use a bulletin board or classroom wall space. It takes the place of a sticker chart almost. And I've talked about so I talked about ours. Are there any questions about what we do?
So once if you use that Flippity, once you get it all set up, and the challenges are set up, and the staff is in there and everything, it pretty much manages it itself.
It pretty much. Right now I schedule an hour a week to go in to and check every classroom. And so in my office, I got 2 monitors. I got classroom on this side and my I call it leaderboard checklist spreadsheet over here, and I'll just go through Drive. And what's nice about Classroom is it shows who's done and not done. So if I can just scroll through it, if there's a 0 on done, I know nobody's done anything, and I can move on to the next one. And then, so I just keep track, and when they get to the end, and I know somebody pretty much finishes a challenge when I get the notification of the Flipgrid response. But like I said, it doesn't. I'm not taking a lot of time to look at it. Like I said, I schedule once a week, but I check it more than that usually, just because. But I've gotten more emails about people wanting to know where their stickers are when they're done, because we have in-district pony mail system, and it takes a couple days to get. They'll get the badge, and then a couple days later, if they don't have their sticker, they're emailing me or calling me. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, like you said, it managed, and we really want it to be almost project based with teachers, so they can create things that they can use for their class. So, like for example, where's it at? The newest ones is forms. So there's 4 things that they have to do. They create a form to collect data. I don't care what data you're collecting, just create a form that collects data. Create a quiz. That's one of the things you can do with forms. Create a choose your own adventure activity. And create a form that can be used as a study guide. And what I do is on every challenge in the classroom, here are their instructions, and I usually have a video, or in this case, these are the instructions. You create a form to collect data, and then you give a Flipgrid response about that. I really don't want to see. I don't need to see the form really. I just want to know what kind of data are you going to collect and how are you going to use it. Because we collect a lot of data on kids. We do. So it's just we want them to know that you can use forms for a data collection tool.
So if they don't know how to do these programs at all, do you give them like YouTube videos?
Yeah, so I put together a step sheet, a tip sheet, and this is at the top of each challenge.
Okay.
And this has links. So these are basically the skills you need to know when you take the Google certified teacher tests, level 1 or level 2. And these are all attached. I'd say 95% of them are attached to a YouTube video. There may be one or two that are attached to a step sheet, but these are all attached to a YouTube video. And what happens is I end up making the videos because I can't find anything that I really like on YouTube. So it goes to our YouTube channel and our YouTube videos. So every challenge has a tip sheet that is like it. Basically, these are the things you need to know how to do to be successful in doing these other things. And they can always refer back to that document. If your district, so I have our Google Classroom open so other districts can access it. If your district does the same thing, you can access our challenges and kind of look and see those if you're interested. And all you have to do is email me. And I can here. Let me do this. Let me just do this for you so you have this. This is the link to, this is our training site. It is case sensitive. We put all of our training materials on this site. Like I said, we have 13,000 kids. Our K-1-2 are one-to-one with iPads. Our 3rd through 12th grade are one-to-one with Chromebooks. So every kid has a device. It's either an iPad or a Chromebook. Every elementary classroom has a Promethean board. About 2/3 of the middle school classrooms have Promethean boards. One of our 3 high schools has boards in every room. So we're a huge Promethean district. So iPads, Google, Promethean, and then some recent initiative stuff that we've incorporated. But if you're here, right up here at the top where it says TPS Challenges is where you get to this site. And if you can look around, I put on here, this is public, I put on here how many points it's worth. And our scientific formula for figuring out how many points is how long will it take me to do this multiplied by 2. That's, or 3, you know. If you sat down and did this with some knowledge of Google Drive, it won't take you 2 hours to do.
Well, see, I've had my kids do that. This year I started introducing them to the stuff that I needed them to know for fundamentals of technology.
Right.
And so I like that where I can say, like, for their semester test, okay, I want you to do this.
Yeah, you got to show me that you can do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you set it up as a challenge. You set it up, and that's the gamification. Yeah, that's the gamification piece. You set it up where they are working towards achieving something, not taking a test.
So Google Classroom, they get the challenge from it. Flipgrid, they
do the
respond.
Yeah, they do a reflection piece.
Reflection piece.
And with Forms, I added in some more. Forms was the last one that we released, and I added in. I think Forms actually has the reflection piece, and then there may be 2 other Flipgrid pieces in there that they have to explain what they were doing instead of sharing the form with me. Just explain, like the data collection. You know, what data are you going to collect and what are you going to do with it? So, yeah, I really like Flipgrid and try to find different ways to use Flipgrid. And and the other reason, well, there's two things that we didn't think about initially. So we're doing this, and then we start incorporating tools into these that teachers should be using with kids, like Flipgrid. That wasn't an initial thing that we thought about, but as we started working and we saw Flipgrid and we're like, hey, I can use this. We want teachers to use it, so let's use it in challenges so they can see it and actually use it. The other is, and I didn't know that this was going to happen, but I ended up with, how did I get onto this account? That was weird. I ended up with libraries with a whole bunch of examples from teachers that I can pull out and say, hey, here's a good graphic organizer. Hey, here's a good labeling activity that you can use. And so I started saving those things. And when somebody says, hey, do you have something for this? So like this is the examples from drawings. So like here's my graphic organizer list. I didn't create any of this stuff. This is all stuff because the challenge is for the teachers, they have to submit 3 graphic organizers. So there's one on here. Let's see. Let's do the one on here. I want to show you is, I think it's this one. This teacher who made this is a sandwich. What do you call it? A sandwich chart for writing. She's an ELL math teacher. She also has a badging program set up in her room. But this is what she submitted for her badge. One of her, she did 2 in Spanish and 1 in English graphic organizers. So
Is that her Bitmoji?
that's her bit. She loves Bitmoji. She puts Bitmoji on everything. I like Bitmoji, but it drives me nuts. You know. So if you have questions, here's how you get to my presentation. If you go to my website, or you can type that in. If you go to my website and go to presentations, if you just hover, you'll see Google Camp OKC, or you can click on the banner here, and then this is the same presentation without the interactive pieces. I'll put that back up there.
That's your slide.
Yeah, it goes to a slide. It goes to a Pear Deck, but it's just slides. There's no interactive pieces to it. And then, if you want to get started and you have questions as you get started, you can email me or tweet at me or whatever. And I'm not going to tell you I have all the answers, but I could give you some advice on what's worked and what hasn't worked for us. I had an email last night. I got back from dinner in the hotel, and I had an email from a librarian that says, "Hey, I want to start some badging, but I don't know how to have the kids display it." And so I suggested to her, you got some bulletin board space, you got some wall space, you can have them just display them there instead of on their computers. It's not digital, but it's the same thing. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.